All right. Welcome back to the ARLnow Podcast. I'm your host, Lene. We've got Dan and Vernon here.
Hey, everybody.
How's your week going?
Good, Lene, you sound like death.
The allergies they have not been kind to me. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing the same thing, but
Yeah, I've been sneezing like constantly. I had to pull over on the highway recently because I was sneezing so much and I'm seeing the street ahead of me in like just flashes of images. We can get through this sneezing.
I'm sure the public appreciates your safety concerns.
Yeah, don't get
No
pulled
sneezing
over
and
for
driving.
don't get pulled over for sneezing too much, Vernon.
Your Honor,
You don't understand. I was mid-sneeze.
it's not what it looks like.
That's your defense. My client would like to contend that it is not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like. I feel like that.
I can just see your lawyer with his head in his hands like that.
They're just like jail for life. All right, Dad, I feel like I walked right over how your week was doing. How's your week going?
My week. I'm looking forward to my vacation.
Oh yeah, that's coming up soon, right?
Going for a beautiful week. I intend to look at the news never. And that's my plan.
Where are you going for vacation? To give our listeners the exact address.
The resort
Yeah,
and
it's at-
hotel room number.
Right. No, I'm actually going to Spain. Yeah, my wife and I have a friend who lives in Spain these days. We're gonna go over and see Madrid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know. I've heard Madrid is like absolutely incredible.
Well, I hope to confirm that.
Confirm. That's cool.
Well, before you go on vacation, we've got some articles to talk about. All right, our first one up is County Board candidate places tracking chips in signs over theft allegations.
Yes, this is a crazy story. I don't know if I've certainly never heard of a candidate for any kind of office putting or claiming to put tracking chips in any of their campaign signs. His name's James DeVita. He is one of two people running for county board right now. He's the only challenger to Takis Karantonis, who's been in his seat for quite a few years now. Yeah, so it's kind of a thing that every campaign cycle, or it's not infrequent that during campaign cycles, campaign signs will go missing. Last election cycle, there were allegations of both Democrat and Republican signs, I believe, getting stolen. It's one of those things that most candidates kind of deal with. Not James DeVita. He says 200 of his 500 signs that he put out have gone missing, and he is fighting mad. So his new signs, they have a message at the bottom that say, taking this sign is a violation of my First Amendment right, plus it has a tracking chip. That's where we're at.
Where does he say the tracking chip is? That seems like a very hard thing to just at the printing location be like, hey, can you leave a little space?
That sounds suspiciously like a question someone could ask if they've been stealing campaign signs around Arlington. So where exactly is this tracking chip? I mean, how hard is it to remove it with an X-Acto knife?
Has it been you taking the signs,
Yeah.
Lena?
Yeah.
He does not specify. The signs do not specify where these alleged tracking chips are, but you could always try to dissect one.
So how much would this cost? I feel like this has got to be an expensive endeavor to save some sign. Like buying a new sign, I feel like would be a lot cheaper than buying a tracking device.
It's unclear. James DeVita certainly has not been shy about spending on his signs. I'll say that much. In March alone, he spent over $10,000 on his signs. And also, so this is some important context here. These signs are they're not like your ordinary signs that are like DeVita for county board.
Mm-hmm.
No, James DeVita, he goes out and he's trying to have conversations on these signs. Like he has full on, it's like one of his signs is missing middle is bad because we don't want developers coming into single family neighborhoods with their houses that aren't going to be affordable anyway, and I don't want this and you shouldn't want it either.
Yeah.
These are full on messages that he's putting on these signs.
I drove by some earlier and it was re-elect Takis, and then right behind it is James DeVita, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis noble or in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows.
You're gonna go all the way through it, Vernon?
outrageous fortune, and in doing so,
Thank you.
take up arms against them to sleep perchance to dream at some point in that.
Mhm.
Or the whole monologue.
Yeah, I've definitely seen the signs around. It's interesting because I feel like the whole thing with the signs, especially being, in medians and stuff, is for cars to see them. And with all that writing, I feel like it'd be really difficult as you're driving by to take in all that information.
That's what Barbara Favola is quoted in the article as saying, that she was worried it was like a safety hazard for distracted drivers, which is the silliest argument that I've ever heard in a campaign thing like this. Like, it is actually a threat to have such long text on your sign. No, the concern for people is just that they're going to ignore it, not that they're going to be so enraptured in the discourse of James DeVito that they're going to wreck their car.
Yeah, see, personally, I'm all for it. I want to see signs out there that are actually having conversations instead of just putting somebody's name out there. But maybe that's just me and my. I feel like it's very Arlington. Like Arlington really just loves the detailed conversations about things.
It's extremely memorable at the very least. I know who this guy is, which is more than I can say for. I don't remember any of the other signs except for Tacos, out there on these medians, but I absolutely remember every James DeVita sign that I see.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm interested if, these tracking chips are a real thing. I'm very interested to see where they're ending up. Is it just because I can't imagine somebody is going out, stealing them all, and then hoarding them in their house.
Well, one person was reposting them elsewhere with new messages on the
didn't
side,
see that.
right? Wasn't that right, Dan?
At least one of them, yes. Now I know this guy and I got in touch with him for this story. He's adamant. He's like, I did not steal these signs. These signs were blown away by the wind and I just found one. And that's how I got here.
The
You know.
200 signs, they just fell off the back of the truck,
The wind blew and it only took these specific signs.
Must have been the wind.
Yeah, this is what he claims. I will say, I went out there and I was taking pictures of the signs and I mean, the elements have definitely been taking their toll on them. Whether or not they're responsible for 200 of them disappearing, I can't say, but it's hard out there, I
Yeah,
guess.
I can. The wind is not responsible for 200 of them disappearing. I'll go out on a limb for that one.
So who do you think it is, Vernon?
There are numerous culprits. Lena currently being my number 2.
You caught me at night. I'm Arlington supervillain. All right. On a very different note.
Not a very different note. This one has an X-Men game in it. That is absolutely true.
Okay, that's true. Yes. Yeah, the Pinball Basement opens second arcade above Roslyn Metro Station.
Yeah, the Pinball Basement. It is a place that opened back in 2023. And by the way, credit on the story to Katie. It was her story, and I am very excited for this. It is opening a new arcade above the Roslyn Metro Station in that little I don't know if you've ever been in the building there above the Roslyn Metro Station, but it desperately needs something like this. It is a very boring space, and this is a very exciting use for it. And obviously, there's new pinball machines coming in. There's an Iron Maiden and Jurassic Park one. Those all look really cool. But really burying the lead here that it's got the 90s X-Men side-scroller beat-em-up arcade game, which is awesome, and I am very excited for that. If any of us ever retire or have any kind of going away party here from the company, that is absolutely the place that I want to have it. That is so cool.
No, I love these types of places. I'm assuming it's one that you still have to go in and pay per machine, because I know every once in a while there's a barcade back in Cleveland where I'm from that is cool because it's just everything in it is free.
Well, so with
But
this
I
one
don't see that very often.
Yeah, what this one has is it has daily paying passes and monthly memberships. So if you pay for the daily pass, you can just go in there and play to your heart's content, which is again, like you
Okay.
said, that's a great way of doing that. Blue has 20 pinball machines and 5 retro arcade games, which is really cool. That's great. It's grand opening
Yeah.
May 17th, and I think that's like you were saying. That's one of those things where you can't. I think it's one of those experiences you can't really replace with a big new development. This is not a Chipotle or something like that. This is clearly somebody's passion project, and that's what makes places like this feel special. And I think hopefully gives them an enduring quality. Not to be too positive and break my vibe.
No, yeah, I love pinball places. I feel like there aren't that many of them that I know of. Like, for me, pinball is like the thing that it's like you're at your uncle's house and it's like the one fun thing to do is you go in the basement and there's a pinball machine. But I love the idea of like actually being able to like go around and like try out different places and things like that.
Yeah. I think the day pass is such a good idea too. Cause I think that'll increase the amount of time that people spend in it. Cause sometimes you go into like an arcade or something with, you know, $10, $15 and it lasts 30
Mhm.
minutes.
Mhm.
So this is a great way to like keep people around. I think that'll be super, super fun.
It's a fun community experience too. Like it's a great bonding activity, and it's great for the restaurant because people drop by drinks and food and stuff like that. It keeps you there for
Mhm.
a while. On my bachelor party, we went out to like an arcade in Norfolk, and it was fantastic. It's a very cool experience. And like another time, pinball is just one of those memorable things. Like I remember a whole bunch of experiences with that. There was one where this guy was very good at it. Like he was just doing an amazing job, and he was deaf and blind and mute, and was playing pinball and was like spectacular. It was incredible. He's a real pinball wizard.
Wow. How do you do that?
I'm kidding. That's a Who song. I thought that was. I thought that was. Oh my god, I'm old. I thought this was a. I thought we're gonna pick up on that. Okay.
Sorry, Vernon. Didn't mean to
Classic
out
rock.
you.
Classic rock ballad. Thought that was okay. Damn. All right.
Okay. I'll give
Never.
it a listen when I visit you in the nursing home.
Yeah. that, that deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. And it's like, okay, grandma, like pushing the wheelchair. That meme. There's a teenage wasteland. Yeah. All right. Well, that was the fun pinball place for senile millennials.
What was the arcade you went to in Norfolk? Because I feel like I've been there. Was it like a barcade? It had 2 stories.
Oh, I was wasted. I have no memory of it, but it was.
Okay.
There was. I remember there was like a great arcade. There was a like X-Men game that they had in the front. That's the. If there's an X-Men game in your arcade, beeline for that. Uh, and like that is just fantastic. It was like a 2-floor arcade thing, and it was right in the middle of like Granby Street in downtown Norfolk. So it's probably the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I have been there.
I
Yeah,
was,
well, I do remember it, and I thought it was pretty cool.
yeah, it was great.
Okay, wait. One last question about this pinball place. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did the article say something about like a pinball players club that was gonna start meeting there or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have tournaments. They're gonna have a weekly pinball league on Thursday nights, which again,
That's so cool.
it's amazing they can finally bring like culture to Roslyn. Like that can finally be something interesting and organic in Roslyn of all places.
You mean the safety rangers aren't enough for
Yeah,
them?
the safety rangers can go there after their grueling patrols around town and stop by the celebrity chef food court and then go over and join up in their pinball league. I
Gosh.
hate Roslyn. I'm just kidding. We love Roslyn, everybody. We love Roslyn for our Roslyn fans. All one of the
Vernon
dozen
speaks
people
for
I
himself and himself only.
Yeah. Me and Dan are always saying how much we don't like Arlington anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, I would not go that far. Rosalind Bid, we love you.
Yeah. You're great. Love you. Park Rangers. Such a great idea.
All right, talking about new places in Arlington. The next article is new plans to redevelop abandoned strip mall. So that
Yes.
could be something very cool.
Not a pinball.
Yeah, so this
Not as
strip
cool as
mall,
pinball, but
yeah, it's not as cool as pinball. Sorry to all the development fans out there, but it's not as fun as a pinball arcade. But it is pretty good news. This strip mall down on Columbia Pike has just been like a massive thorn in the side for anyone who is trying to do anything on Columbia Pike for several years at this point. It was a whole thing. They said they were going to redevelop it like years ago. All the businesses there were like, all right, guess we got to get out. And some of them found new places, some of them didn't. And the strip mall has just been abandoned at this point. But then the development never actually came. The way they designed it, there's supposed to be like one big grocery tenant on the ground floor, and then they backed out. And then they're like, what are we going to do? But anyway, the plan is back. There's a new developer who's trying to, revitalize, like take on these plans again and finally do something with this space. And so really, really good news for that neighborhood, which especially, if you know anything about Columbia Pike, people down there tend to get kind of touchy about like feeling kind of left behind by some like development progress that has happened elsewhere in Arlington County. And so they're pretty excited about this.
Well, if they had a
Yeah.
trolley, I bet they wouldn't feel so left behind.
Okay, we don't need to get into the streetcar plans.
It's a classic Columbia Pike debate about revitalizing it with the trolley that went through there, and then it fell apart. Don't ask Columbia Pike people about the trolley.
Yeah, it's the streetcar, it's the road work, and then it's probably like this development project that have been like kind of the three main talking points for people there for a little while now.
Yeah. Did it say when they were planning on it being completed, or is it still kind of like in the ideas phase?
So it's like a whole process. A new developer has taken the project back on,
Yeah.
but it's still got to get county board approval, and like it's got to go through the whole system again. Like it takes a little while to get things approved anywhere, and especially in Arlington. But people are pretty hopeful that this will kind of get fast tracked. Certainly, development is not known for being quick,
Yeah.
but they're hoping that this one will be relatively fast paced.
Yeah. I feel like strip malls, they disappeared for a while. And in the past, I don't know, 5-10 years, it seems like they're really kind of making a resurgence, especially with, the indoor shopping malls kind of starting to be a thing of the past. It feels like it's moving in that direction again of like outdoor shopping. And some of them are done really nicely. So it could be something super cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, is to get retail back onto that block, because it's just, I mean, I've heard it described as an eyesore, a blight. I mean, it's just this big empty strip mall that's just been kind of like deteriorating. And yes, the new development would actually have like shops on the ground floor, which is kind of the big thing, for people who are involved in development and that kind of stuff. Mixed use development, and shops on the ground floor and apartments above is in vogue right now, I guess you could say.
Because how bad do you have to be an eyesore and a blight on Columbia Pike?
Whoa, Vernon!
Coming from every
just
Arlington neighborhood.
right, Roslyn, Columbia Pike, nowhere
I
is
like Columbia
safe.
Pike. Columbia Pike genuinely has culture. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They also have a pinball arcade.
Yeah, that's where it started. We cannot escape the pinball thing. It just keeps bouncing back. But no, love Columbia Pike.
Well, our last story for the day has nothing to do with pinball at all. 85-year-old narrowly escaped falling tree limb. So this seems very scary.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with pinball, but they are both stories about people being victims to gravity and falling. We got an email the other day, or last night, from a man who said that his mother over the weekend narrowly escaped death when a tree fell on her at Hayes Park, and our boss was immediately like, we have to do a story on this before like the local news channels get to it. This is Mary Ann Bates. She's an 85-year-old woman, and she was walking her dog Zoko, Xoco. Not sure how you pronounce that, but Zoko. They were walking through the park, and then as she was going along, she heard a loud cracking noise. Looked behind her, and the top of the tree, like a big limb off of the tree, snapped and started falling onto the street. She had to run for it, which is not an easy thing for an 85-year-old woman to do. She fell in the process and broke her wrist. So, yeah, she wound up in the hospital. She was totally fine. She broke her wrist. Now it's in a cast and a sling. But she is recovering, and she was mostly happy that the tree didn't get her dog. So, yeah, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was worried about the other trees in the park, but we talked to the parks department, and they were like, "No, we inspected the other trees. They're all fine. It's something that sometimes happens. A limb falls
Yeah.
off a tree. It's kind of a freak accident."
Yeah.
Did the dog also make a run for it?
The dog presumably did speed up a little bit. I don't know. I didn't get to interview the dog, but yeah, she and the dog survived through it okay. The dog is not wearing a cast, so I assume the dog didn't break anything.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. I mean, that's very scary. I mean, it's scary for anybody, especially someone that is 85 and has their dog with them, that's
This is also like I when they sent over the pictures, I was expecting, oh, it'll be like a big branch. This was like the top third of the tree
Yeah,
that just like splintered off and
this is
fell onto
massive.
the path. The
and
debate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, based on the pictures, it's not like it doesn't look like it's just one dead lit. Like there's a lot of foliage on it, so it'd be hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like I wouldn't look at that tree and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a hazard."
No, that tree had it out for her
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
her dog.
Yeah.
Not
That
the
was an assault.
dog.
That was why we in the captions. I was like, tree that was suspect in the assault in Hayes Park.
Suspect branch and
Yeah.
tree attack.
It did stir up a debate in the newsroom about whether or not the wrist counts as a limb. The original headline there was 2 limbs broken in tree attack at Hayes Park. And Dan fixed it, I'll say.
It's not a limb.
Because her wrist, he is saying, and I wish he were here to defend himself, but his wrist, he is saying, is not a limb, which is absurd, obviously, that is part of your limb, and more importantly, is a better joke.
If I say I broke my arm, I don't mean I broke my wrist.
Didn't say arm, said limb.
But your arm
You
is
injured a
your
limb.
limb. That's the limb you're referring to.
Luke Skywalker got a limb cut off when his hand was cut off here, right?
No, he got his hand cut off.
Okay, we have a third person here who can confirm this now.
Because I see it both ways. Because I was leaning
Both sides.
towards Dan being like, well, it's a part of a limb. But you brought up the Star Wars analogy, and yeah, he did lose a limb.
Thank you.
But he lost his hand.
Yes, that's what we're talking about here.
But it's still, I would still consider that being, yeah.
If somebody tells me they lost a limb, I assume that, like, they lost a limb. Like, the whole shebang.
So the funny thing is, when he said that earlier, and he was like, if somebody came in and said, like, oh, I like injured a limb, and they came in with the casts on their wrist, I would be like, why do you have a cast on your wrist? I thought you injured your limb. And I was like, first of all, that would be your first reaction if you saw somebody with a cast. You would be like, excuse me, actually, that's your wrist.
Incorrect.
But no, I don't know. Sound off in the comments.
All of our doctor listeners.
I had on Blue Sky, there was an extensive, like, people going over, these are the joints that can be injured in your hand. Whether or not you can actually break your wrist was part of the discussion. Because it's like they're joints, it's not bones. So it's, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just make funny headlines.
And then I am happy for the old woman, to be clear.
Yeah,
no shade.
She's great. Happy for her. Yeah, and her dog, Zoko. I hope it's Zoko.
That's what it looks like. XOCO,
yeah. Glad we can all agree on something.
Well, I am glad that she's okay. I'm glad that the dog is okay. Hopefully she heals quickly. Her limb/wrist heals quickly.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of May, she'll be back in fighting shape to participate in the pinball tournament in Ross.
Bringing it back.
All things relate back to pinball.
Are there any tree-related pinball games, like Haunted Forest, themed?
Probably. I feel like I played a Stranger Things one that had trees in it.
Could be. They got all kinds of themes.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen just a tree-themed one,
tree.
though.
Tree attack.
Hear me out. Tree. Everybody loves them. Everybody needs them. But what if we had that as a pinball game?
Yeah, who needs another superhero pinball game?
Yeah.
Something new and innovative.
I think it would sell in Arlington. The number of stories we write about trees doing one thing or another is just through the roof here.
And they're like, Dan, please leave our office. I don't know how you got it past security. We go to our boardroom meeting where we pitch new pinball machines here at Acme.
All right. Well, that was fun. Always a pleasure talking with you guys. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some more exciting stories to talk about next week. We'll see if there are any new pinball developments.
Oh, wait, we rarely get to do this. This is a little thing for our video audience. Because we're in the same newsroom. So now we're shaking the thing. So, yeah. See everybody.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Especially our video watchers.